super curve honing fans, type 2 diabetes, rescued by keto fans, and carnivore eating fans, the proper human diet. Started off, they're going to do a straight razor shave like I usually do. Occasionally I use other stuff, and most of the time I don't do a video on if I'm using an injector or a double edge, single edge. Occasionally I'll do a shavette, but most of the time I'm shaving with a straight razor, and most of the time for videos I'm shaving with a straight razor. The soap today is currently unobtainium. This is Sterling. You know I'm a big Sterling fan, okay? Sterling for him, that is this is a homage to Versace for him, okay? Per home or whatever that's called. Anyhow, it was a limited run type of thing. It sold. Once it's sold out, it may come back, okay? I liked it so much that I bought a couple of them. It's one of my favorite scents from Sterling. So using the big Sterling Zenith brush that is the fault of the long haul tanker. My friend Leon made all of us guys go out and buy these things because it is a brush that comes around, I think, once a year at the Sterling Black Friday, Thanksgiving time sale. He buys a bunch of them and they seem to disappear. Last time I looked, I think Sterling did some spring releases. I bought some stuff. I think some bar soaps, and I think I bought some replacement of doing only supply on a couple aftershaves. I didn't buy any soap. I have more soap than I think I can live to use. So, but I do enjoy the different scents. You know, I did not use my hot towel. You know, sorry, Gary, I'm not coming to the dark side, okay? I am going to continue to dump boiling water into my Scuttle and use the hot towel that way. And you should know, I'm already on the dark side. I'm south of the border. I did use the Rich Man's Pre-Shave Proraso. I've seen, over the years, I had seen a lot of people that would do what I just did. They would lather up and they would use a lather, first coat of a lather. And then apply a hot towel. Maybe not necessarily something that they poured in a cup and poured boiling water on. Maybe it was just a hot towel or a hot face cloth or whatever and I suppose I had done that many times. I just seem to have come to really like the hot towel where I pour boiling water in on it, and the hot Scuttle, hot shave soap from the Scuttle. And it's not a necessary thing. It's just one of those things that if you do it and you like it, you get to like it, becomes part of your routine. So that's the start. I'm going to shave. Today's shave is, if you haven't seen already, it's going to be Le Grelot or Le Grelot. I think it's pronounced Le Grelot. And it means little bell. There was I did another Tiarzasard shave not too long ago, and the subject came up about Legro razors, and I wanted to share some information of some of what I do know about Le Grelot. Okay, so this is the one I got most recently, and this let's take the show side. It does not have the Le Grelot little bell stamping on it, not on the front or on the back. I think on the back it says, does say it's indicate that it's C135 steel. So this is a modern one. There are other razors that use this exact same 5/8 thumb notch blank form, and also have, but do not have, this does have the engraving on the spine with the Le Grelot bells on it. And this one I like because it has jimping on both inside the thumb notch and on the back. I forget what the wood this is and the wood burning that's done there, but this was my modern one, and I thought I had more Le Grelots than I did, but I don't. I have this one and I have one more, but there's a couple of things that and I took a couple of pictures that I'll put in to illustrate some things. Now this razor, like all my razors, I usually don't comment on how they're honed, because really there's two ways. There's, if it's somebody else's honing on flat stones, it's usually by the person who I got the razor from, and it's usually honing by their hand. Or I do have in the case one recently shown. Dover razor that had a remarkably honed edge on it. And I'll have to shave with that some more to decide whether when I'm going to rehone that. A lot of times I really don't hone that much. Usually I hone one way, regardless of what it is. It's one way, and I hone one time, and it's by the fact that people have said that if you use hollow bevels, convex hones, and you hone for how that the edge does not last as long. I don't find that, okay? And most of the criticisms that come from that way are coming from people who have never tried it. So this is actually another Le Grelot. This has, let me see if I could clean that up a little bit, the oil or the, where you could kind of see the bell in there. And this was a razor that was given to me. I honed some razors for a guy, and he's a very generous guy. He gave me this. I told him I don't want anything. And he's the kind of guy, he gives you something, he doesn't take it too kindly when you say, no, I don't want it. And he's not going to take it back. So, and he would probably, if I stuck it in his car, he'd probably mail it back to me. Just the kind of guy he was. Generous to a fault. So this has the little bell, and this says Le Grelot Thiers France. Now, Le Grelot, whether it be the bell or the engraving of the bell on the spine, or the logo that's like this, and sometimes this logo is just, neither of these razors have an imprint on it, but I pulled out another razor and I'll show you a picture of it right here. This is just a popular blank from Thiers. I think it's a very high performance blank. But the printing on the side, or the inscription, or the engraving, or the etching, or whatever it is that they get that wording on there, I think that is also a trademark marketing slogan, design that belonged to the original company that made Le Grelot, which was also a marketing type thing. Okay, so this is a 6/8, and this came in, I believe this was manufactured by TR Zassard. Came in with a TR Zassard pouch. It's unknown to me what steel this is. The Le Grelot originally came from a company, a razor maker that had roots in similar parallel time frame to TR Zassard. And that company, Pierre Hospital, spelled like in America in English, hospital, and very, very vintage. Le Grelots and other stuff. And I do, like I said, I thought I saw somewhere on the registration of trade insignias and designs that Evide Sonnant Extra was also originated with Pierre Hospital. And I've come to not really pay so much attention to the paint job that's on the razor more than I have paid more attention to the blank and the blank style and the time frame of the blank style and what history you know about it and what steel may have been used in that. Now that razor right there, Pierre Hospital, and you can find razors around that are Le Grelot, and they'll have that stamped on there, and they'll have P Hospital stamped on the tang as well, or the shank. But any of, and that company, I believe I read that company was purchased by TR Zassard in 2 phases. I don't understand that. I don't know the history, and I may never know the history. That kind of history may have to come from somebody in France. But it was purchased in phases. What phases, what was included, but at one of the phases, TR Zassard acquired the inventory of the forged blanks that were in the possession of the Pierre Hospital razor company. And I think I had read that the P Hospital company went out of business somewhere around 1990. Whether it was late 80s, early 90s, I'm not sure. Could be both, considering that it was 2 phases. But any of the blanks that came over did not have the stamping on it. And if you look at, if you can look up the video that Jared had made when he visited last year Sard. They have a stamping press in which they stamp the inscriptions in on the side so they can do anything. So whether, I don't know if when that happened on this razor, but as what I understand, this blank being most likely a Pierre Hospital blank, ground and finished by Sard, would have probably had the stamp done there, and I guess maybe they certainly had the rights to use the bell type thing there. I don't know what steel this is. It does shade pretty well. If there is that such thing as the feel of blade feel flex on your face, I think I'm feeling it here and not on that one, because I don't think this is C135 steel. I don't know what it is, but C135 steel seems to have a bit more rigid feel than maybe any other steel. Okay, and that's another thing. Whatever they stamp on the side, they'll say Sheffield steel, silver steel, Swedish steel. That's a paint job. It doesn't mean anything. Okay, because I think I've got C135 steels from Sard that say Swedish steel on it. So maybe I have one that says Sheffield silver steel. Okay, but what does it matter? Does that mean that C135 is the same as Sheffield silver steel? Like I said, I've come to the point that I feel it's a paint job more than anything. And okay, so I've shown the 6/8, typical 6/8 Sard that comes in. That's one of the simpler, more the one that I showed, the Evide Sonant. That's one of the more lower priced entry level with the acrylic or black plastic scales on there. And that comes in all kinds and decorations and all, and there's different patterns that go on, and usually that affects the value at the cash register. Some of those I have seen, and you can find those in both a 5/8 and a 6/8 that do say Le Grelot. I don't know if the grind is any different. Okay. I have some, razors that are supposed to be extra hollow, singing, whatever, from Sard, and I don't really consider them in the same class of thinness of grind as, say, a Philharmonica, okay, or some of the stuff coming out of some of the places in Germany in terms of how thin the grind is and how flexible it is. Some of that has to do with the hardness and all. But I can just look at it and I can see, and you could feel it on the hone, that kind of stuff. But one razor, and I'll put up a picture of that, I have is a Tears 7/8 oak wing. And I got 3 pictures. One would be the front side, the show side, which shows the verbiage stamped very, very similar to that which is on this Grelot, and similar to what's on the back, with the exception that on the back of this oak wing, they actually stamped an oak leaf into that to signify that it was that limited production style. And the original oak wings that came out, I think they came out and they were accompanied with like a special case to put them in, certainly a collector's item. I don't really view that, my piece, as a collector's item because it doesn't have that that particular case. So, but that razor also has the same little bell spine work that you have on it, which is a Le Grelot or little bell imaging. So that's my little speech on Le Grelot, okay? I haven't not found the Tears razor that I did not like. I've not found the Dovo razor that I did not like. Okay, so are they all perfect? No, they're not. I honed up one Tears razor for a friend who he tried it. Numerous people had tried it, and I did a video on that one. And that was a lot like the 6/8 ones that I showed, except it was 5/8. So that one had like a warp in the blade, like right in this area where it would just, there was nothing that corresponded in the spine. It almost looked like somebody had been leaning on it or bent it somehow. I don't really know. But that is one of those things where you're honing off of a curved surface with a limited contact and a focused contact, where you can blend it, you can hone the different geometries and you can blend that back in. Is it easy? I found it easier to learn than flat honing, but I started down that road before I really learned and acquired. I've since done a couple of flat hones successfully, but before that time I had never been able to really learn to do it. Some of which is driven by where you go to get your information and who is putting that information out there. So in the case of my case, okay, you learn like there's a popular guy, I don't know how popular he is, there's a recent kind of a guy that goes on to the bludgeon beatdown for shave forum, and he boldly proclaims in a thread where somebody asks some questions about convex. Oh, no, that's not a drawing. You gotta, razors are supposed to be like a triangle and extruded. Okay, that is not the case. Maybe they're supposed to be, but why would you ever hollow out anything like that? You would put it on a moving flat belt, and you grind it, and you would grind a wedge, and you get your angle, and you make it perfect. Why, but that's not how razor makers do it. They use wheels with limited points of contact on the razor. So anyhow, I'm going to propose that for the bludgeon and beatdown, and I don't know why I didn't do the against the grain pass on my stash. So for the extruded triangle guy, and if you watch, I get it. Triangle shape, I get it. Okay, but if you watch anybody, I don't care what kind of stone or what kind of stuff they're honing off of, you watch them, and if you watch anybody apply any kind of a differential pressure, leaning somewhere or whatever, they're doing that as a compensation for the fact that you don't have an extruded triangle. And people do it all the time with all different kind of things, and I really don't care how you do it. But just to be friends with the bludgeon and beatdown, and to certify them as they need to be certified. I think because you hear so many times, well, you didn't set the bevel. And when it comes to my style, I said, I don't set the bevel. I don't set a bevel. And I don't run a progression of grits. I change curves and I change grits. It's not how I started off. I started out with a progression of nano stones because I thought you had to go through a progression, because that's the way everybody did everything, unless you were using a natural stone with a slurry and you're modifying the slurry one way or another. So the term for the extruded triangle master, it will be, he sets the treble. That will be triangle bevel. Okay, so and I urge him, if he ever gets any razor, and he's I'm sure that, one of the loudest screamers, if he gets like one of the Dovos, like the Runda Saka that I got, it's like warped like a banana. And I did the honing on that, not live, but I recorded it, and I shaved with it afterwards, got a very good shave, and then I went back and I showed, I didn't test any of that stuff first, I just did what I always do. But this guy, Mr. Set His Treble, could never set a treble on that razor. I don't care if you do grind the bejeebers out of it and tape it up and do whatever. You're just, that razor just did not lend itself to be easy to sharpen that way. Now, I'm not going to say that there aren't people skilled enough with movements and how they move a razor around a flat stone to get around that, because I know there are. It's just that for me, I found it a little bit easier to work off of a curve. So that would be the shave. And super curve honers, don't ever tell anybody you set a bevel. You don't set a bevel. You don't set a treble, you don't set a bevel. You hollow a bevel out, okay? And then you ultimately find stones to get out to the edge. You do finish somehow or another. My style, my developed style, I finish on strops. Everybody knows that. It's just what I do. Okay, so I'm using Lucky Tiger aftershave and face tonic, and it's got aloe, and it's made by Al and these people here. And I think one of those things might be a chemical note to be made by the Witches of Hazel. But these people, this Lucky Tiger people, they're Lucky Tiger LLC. They're up there in Milwaukee drinking beer, and they really don't want the Witches of Hazel to be putting any hexes on them. But that's a orangey type of a scent. If you have not tried this, it doesn't cost a lot of money. It's pretty nice stuff. There's a lot of people get this, and you don't really, it's like most Witches of Hazel, you don't need a whole lot of that to do the job of conditioning your skin afterwards. So let me quick dry these razors off and put them on a place where I can finish drying them and re-oiling them and put them away and all that maintenance stuff. So that is the Witches of Hazel. The scent, the citrus scent of that doesn't override other things. It dissipates pretty quickly, more quickly than a lot of citrus scents. So I'm using the accompanying splash, which does also, it has alcohol, and it has some of the Witches of Hazel in there, and fragrance and glycerin and aloe and all that stuff. I just like these. They're not that expensive, and you get a lot of different fragrances from Sterling. And a lot of these fragrances, they'll also make them in EDT, so as well as soaps and all kind of stuff. I like this scent. I'm planning on, my wife and I are planning on meeting with my best friend going through high school, and before we were married, and when we each got married, we're both doing active things in our own lives. And now that we've hit this older age plateau, we get together, and it's like we never missed a beat. Okay, so we're getting together. I hope I can resist. I know I went off the rails. I went full renegade last week when I'm down with my brother, and I ate 3 Krispy Kreme donuts. I'm going to use the Yardley Gentleman. Okay, I don't even know what this smells like. I take some of these things and I put them in these powder cannon bombers, and then I can't remember what's in them, and I don't know how to what I need to put in there and refill them. But so and ultimately, even if I use that powder cannon, I'll ultimately kind of touch up the dusting with one of these face cloths. And this gentleman has to be, in terms of the scent of powders and of all the different powders that I have, has to be my favorite. Okay, now maybe some of it is a nice interaction with the Sterling for him aftershave, but I really, really do like that. So if you're one of the people who are coming along and I'm an influencer, and the guy who I always give credit to Barber Dave for being the first one I ever saw actually do this when he's shaving himself, to use a powder. But if you're inclined to try that, look up this Yardley Gentleman Classic. Look that one up on Amazon. Doesn't cost a lot of money. You get some of this and you can try it. And you don't got to get a special brush. You can do exactly what I do. And when you find the feel, the almost polish that leaves, now it does leave a little bit of a ghost face there, but that dissipates, within a couple of hours as the powder goes in. But the feel, the final polish finish on your face is fantastic. So thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get together with my friends. We're going to the California Pizza Kitchen. I'm going to try my best not to eat any pizza. I did look at the menu. They do have a couple of salmon dishes, and I think I get a piece of salmon and a vegetable and a salad. I do eat salads. I do eat some vegetables, broccoli and stuff like that. So that's probably what I'm going to get. I'm going to try and stay, because I do love pizza. I really do love pizza, but I'm trying to keep my diet on the rails since I went off last week. So this is Bill. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you all have a great week. Take care. Bye.